Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I'm actually going to show you today how I do my steaks. I love steak, it's one of my favorite proteins. So right now what I'm going to do is start cutting up an onion. I don't use a lot of onions because I don't like onions. I don't like the flavor of it, but I know that it's really good when you're trying to marinate any type of meat. And I also have one lemon and one clove of garlic. I typically put everything in a bag, in a Ziploc bag, and I let it marinate for about 2 to 3 hours, sometimes more. Honestly, I don't particularly I don't have like a specific time, but I try to leave it as long as I can to get the flavors all together. So now what I'm going to start doing is actually seasoning. Oh my gosh, I can't talk today. Putting all the seasonings in the steaks. So these are New York steaks. I actually like them thick, but my husband likes them a little thinner. So what I always do is cut them in half and then cut those halves in halves. So I do that to all of them to actually make more steaks. Whatever's left over, I usually do a steak salad the next day, or again, I eat steaks with, I basically repeat my meal for lunch. So right now I'm starting to season the steak. Again, this steak is going to go in a Ziploc bag and to marinate for about 2 to 3 hours to get all those flavors together. So right now what I have is I'm going to put some pepper. I think I put cumin and paprika and a little bit of salt and rub that all together. Again, I do that in both sides and I put it in the Ziploc bag. You want to put it in the fridge, and an hour before you're gonna cook the meat, you want to take it out. You want the meat to be at room temperature. That way, when you're cooking it, it cooks evenly and it's actually makes the meat more tender. So try to do that when you're cooking meat. Try to always, if it's refrigerated, try to take it out at least an hour before you are about to cook it, and then it will try to make it room temperature basically, and it will taste so much better. So right here I'm just putting everything, like the lemon, squeezing the lemon inside the bag. I actually added another lemon to it. Again, you always want to follow recipes, but always try to change it to your liking. It's what I do. I always get recipes and then I change them to the way I like them, or add things to it if I want to, or take things out. So I just added the lemon and I cut another lemon later and I added to the bag as well. And I added the clove of garlic. I think garlic gives it a great flavor. I love garlic. I also like garlic salt. Sometimes I put that instead of regular salt. So yeah, so I add it all in the bag and mix it up and put it in the fridge. So right here, I'm just giving it a light massage to get everything combined, get it all evenly in there, get the meat coated. and it's gonna be so good. I love steak. I love it so much. Right now, I'm going to start. So at this point, I'm just letting the oil cook. The meat has been in the out of the fridge for about an hour now. So you want to just let the oil heat up, and once it starts getting really hot, you want to put the steaks in there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna seal the steak. So basically, you're gonna sear it on one side and flip it to the other side. That is because you don't want it fully cooked, because this meat is going to go in the oven. So I want to just seal it. Sealing means that you want to sear both sides to get that crispy outer interior of the meat. And you want to make sure, because if you put it in the oven without doing that, the meat's not going to have that kind of caramelized exterior to it, which it gives it another depth to the meat, you can say. So you want to do that to both sides. I put in the onions, I put everything that's inside the bag, I put it in with the meat, because again, the onion gives it like an extra flavor to the meat, and it's been marinating in that for 2 to 3 hours, so it gives it a more depth and a lot of more dimension to the meat. So you want to do that to both sides. You want the oil to be extremely hot, obviously not burning to the point where it's getting dark, but you want it to be sizzling hot. That way it doesn't fully cooked. It doesn't really fully cook the meat, it just kind of seals it. You want to keep checking to see when it's being sealed. When you're starting to see like those brown edges, you want to turn the meat around. Again, it doesn't take that long if the pan is really hot. It doesn't really take that long. So right now you can't see it because of the lighting, but it does. The sear was actually where I wanted it to be, on that side, and I'm gonna flip it around all the pieces. And what I'm gonna do now is actually I actually cut it butter, like 1 tablespoon per meat, like per steak, and I put it on top of each steak. The butter gives it so much flavor, and it's so good. So you want to put this in an oven in a oh my gosh, I can't talk. 400-degree oven for about 5 minutes. If you like it medium rare, 5 minutes. If you like it well done, leave it for 7 minutes and take it out and let it rest for about 15 to 20 minutes. It releases all the juices. So on the side of the steak, I'm gonna do asparagus. I love asparagus. It's actually a really great keto veggie that I have. So I cut them into little pieces, put them in a pan, cover them with olive oil, put some salt and pepper and a little bit of lemon. Again, you can actually add garlic to it if you like. Just cut up a lot of garlic and toss it in, or you can add garlic powder, which is a better option, I think, because garlic tends to burn really easily, and if it's burnt, it tastes really bad, and I don't recommend it for anybody. But you can actually, right now, that's what I'm actually putting on. I'm putting garlic powder, to the asparagus. Again, you're gonna stick that in with the steak, and you're actually gonna leave those for about 15 minutes. Or again, if you like them crunchy, you can take them out a lot sooner. But I like them soft. That's just my preference. So you want to toss them, coat them with the olive oil, and put them in the oven. So right now what I'm going to start doing is doing my chimichurri sauce. I love making this chimichurri to put on the steak. I actually use this as a salad dressing as well. So it's actually parsley, 1 cup of parsley, and 1 cup of cilantro. You don't need the cilantro. I personally add it because it gives it a more Latin flavor to it, so it gives it a different dimension. And I add 2 chiles serranos. You can actually add 1 chili to give it just a hint of spice, but I'm Mexican. I really love spices. I actually add 2 to 3 lemons because since you're blending herbs, herbs typically don't have any water content in it, so you want to make sure that you're adding it. I add a little bit of salt and pepper, and you also are going to add olive oil. So the olive oil, I start adding it once I'm blending it, so that way I know how much I start making it. So I add a little bit right now, but as it starts blending in the blender, I add a little bit more until I get the consistency that I want. You also want to add 1 garlic clove. I think I forgot to add it, or add it later, but oh, it's right there. I think you can see the garlic. 1 garlic clove. So it gives it a better, different dimension. So you see right now, it's sort of getting stuck. So that's where I come in and I add a little bit more olive oil as it starts blending. That way I can know when to stop. You don't want to add too much oil, but again, since you're on keto, olive oil is actually great. It's really, really healthy for you, and it gives you a lot of benefits actually. So once it's combined, it looks like this. I like it chunky. You can again make it a little bit thinner, but this is chimichurri. The steak is done. So I take it out of the oven. I let it rest right there. Do you see all the wonderful juices that are in there? Oh my God, it's so good. I scoop it out and I put it on top of the steak. So good. Let it rest for 15 minutes and you'll see it's so good. So this is the finished product. It's asparagus with steak. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you guys try it out. I love steak. It's one of the best proteins out there, I think. But let me know what you eat your steak with. Let me know if you have any more recipes that you want me to try. But thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys on the next one.